do you pay for all that training? I know that a lot of people don't do as much training because they feel like if their guys aren't making money, they're costing money. How do you do that?
Yes, just one is a change of mindset. So training doesn't cost, it pays. Yes, the techs are, you can only be one place at one time, so you're not actively making money. However, you have to have the opportunity, training opportunities there so that they can maximize their opportunities when they're out in the field. Once we changed our mindset and just committed to training, that was where we turned the corner. Another thing that you have to do, you have to plan and charge enough money in your pricing structure to recover that overhead to allow your techs to train. So if you are not priced adequately, you don't have the money there to get your employees trained. So that's another thing that we learned. You have to charge accordingly to get the work done.
Makes sense. Do you have a specific way of doing that? Or is there a number that you look at?
Yeah, callbacks. So callbacks are one of the key metrics that we use to track the effectiveness of the technicians. As far as customer service, that's another metric. They all tend to score pretty high, but callbacks, we look at those very closely because callbacks are costly. You talk about a misdiagnosis. You went from that call being profitable to you're paying 3 to 4 times of what that call would have been worth to resolve it. And you have to resolve it to keep that customer and keep them happy. Callback. So the industry standard usually is around 2%, over 2%. When I train contractors, and typically they will require training for that technician, and we're averaging about less than 1/2%. Callbacks is how we keep track of that.
Wow.
Great insight. Oh, you mentioned a lot of things there. Training is a motivation, compensation for motivation, and looking at their performance through callbacks. What else to motivate them? IEQ's tough for a lot of technicians to take on. There's always, it seems, one guy out of 10 that's going to be resistant. It just doesn't gel for them for some reason. Have you ever come across any technicians like that? And what do you recommend that other owners do when that happens? Let's say they have the equipment there. There's been a little turnover, and a new technician's onboarding, and they didn't really do IAQs too much at the last company they're at.
Mhm.
How would you handle that one, or what would you recommend?
Uh, First thing, when we have a new employee, we put them through a healthy homes course, so that way they can understand one, your house. You spend most of your time in your life in your home. If you don't have a good clean environment, that it can impact respiratory health. You can have allergies, asthma, and all that kind of stuff. So we put them through a course to understand the basics, and then so that's some altruism there. The financial piece is a huge market sector. So I believe I read some reports that the industry for IAQ was about $10 billion. So you have big box stores, Home Depot, they're selling IAQ products. And if you walk into a house and you see a person with a dehumidifier, that person, they're spending money to solve a problem, and we have the knowledge and capability to do it. There's a financial aspect of it. And to get them to get on board, a lot of times when we onboard a new employee, we give them a monitor and say, hey, go home and plug it up for the night and let's see what you got. And when we got the monitors and we assigned them a year or so ago, it was pretty funny. They came back on our next training session, and it was like, whose house was the worst? And so they were actually looking at it. Your particles are through the roof, or your VOCs, and oh man, your house is messed up. I'm not coming to visit. So it was a huge learning tool to put it in their hands and actually let them test their house. And they actually were some personal use ERV sales that they bought on our account, and they were able to go home and help resolve some of those issues. Those are some of the things we use to address maybe some hesitancy with the monitors.